Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here today I have another diamond in the rough. His name is Kajon Coley. He's a defensive back out of Virginia Union. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you, Jimmy.
So cool. Out of Virginia Union, HBCU, a lot of great talent coming out of the HBCU circuit these days. So hopefully you're one among them. So um, talk me through your journey a little bit, man. I don't know too much about you. So give me your background. Let's start with where you're from and kind of work with our conversation from there.
All right, so I'm from Richmond, Virginia, born and raised. My my football journey is extremely different, I would say, from I guess other people. I started off, I was actually homeschooled growing up, so I wasn't really in schooling like through middle school, and I ended up going to school kind of during middle school. So, but I always played Pop Warner, like rec league stuff like that. So I knew what football was. I just didn't come in fresh into football. But I would say to a lot of people that were in schooling, I wasn't as known. So I ended up going to a private school, military, Benedictine College Preparatory. I transferred a couple high schools, but that was my last stop. I stayed there for the last 2 years. I ended up, you know, um, getting a couple offers from smaller schools, going to smaller camps like VMI and another smaller school like Delaware. And I actually had my biggest one was JMU. And the funny thing is, it was during a time where JMU had a completely whole change of coaching staff. I don't know if you remember that, but I ended up losing my offer to them. And I also got hurt my senior year. So it kind of landed me up like the coach from JMU that ended up leaving, ended up going to UVA Wise. I ended up going there. He just took a chance on me. I got injured and he took a chance like, hey, I'm gonna take a chance on you. I'm gonna offer you for a scholarship. Ended at UVA Wise. Transferred, kind of didn't like being far away from home. Transferred to Virginia State. And one of my coaches from high school ended up going to Virginia Union, and that's how I ended up being at Virginia Union.
Gotcha. So, yeah, a little bit of a journey, man. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes that's just kind of how it goes. I mean, we kind of have to just roll with what life gives us at times. But let's take a step back in your journey because I mean, I do want to at least fill in some of the blanks. So, obviously, you said Richmond guy, man, love that area. It's beautiful down there, by the way.
Yes.
And then you went to prep school at Benedictine Prep,
Yes, sir.
which is what you said again, military school. When you were in high school, uh, playing ball, obviously I introduced you as a defensive back, but explain if you played any other positions or any other sports,
Yeah.
while you're growing up.
I played wide receiver for Benedictine for a little bit. It was a lot of talented guys. We had Justin Smith. He's playing for the Houston Roughnecks right now. He went to Norfolk State. We had another guy, Scott Bracey, was at Duke. Another guy, Diamond Tennyson at Vanderbilt. It was a lot of good guys, and I kind of told myself, I was like, man, why not just play DB like full time? But I played here and there. A wide receiver for Benedictine, got a couple highlights, got a couple touchdowns. I also did track. My dad was a Olympic trial track athlete. He was a full freaking CI. I don't know, the LC4A champion for Liberty University for 3 years. So I grew up in track also. As a background, I did long jump and the 400. And so I think those kind of stuck with me all the way up to college. I didn't keep doing track, but yeah, it was track and wide receiver.
Well, I mean, it's kind of nice to have a track
Yeah.
background at times because I mean, those things do translate over to football a little bit. Training is a little different, mindset is a little different. But of course, those things do help. You said your dad was the guy who kind of instilled that in you, right?
Oh my gosh. Yes, like he's a complete track guy. Like, he ended up going to Olympic trials. So like his whole life has been track. So he kind of pushed into me, and then he had me doing the 400 and 200. I hated the 400. Jimmy, I don't know if you like ever ran a 400 before. The worst like race on your lungs. completely dead by the end of the race. So like just growing up and doing that, yeah, it kind of stuck with me for sure.
Well, it's all right. I mean, I would only hope that your dad instilled in you a little bit of that speed. I don't know if that carried down to you through his genes, but I mean, hopefully, giving you the opportunity to make that translate on the football field. Um, talk to me a little bit about these schools that you were part of. I mean, obviously, part of a few of them, and also as a defensive back. Can you explain a little bit of the defenses that you were a part of? I mean, and how you were utilized in them?
So coming out of uh high school, we played a little bit man, but UVA-wise ran strictly man coverage. Every play was a blitz and man. So going from playing free safety, I was a cover one free safety. I was the only one that really wasn't in coverage 24/7, but even at times I'll be in coverage, coming down when they empty out, go and guard somebody. But that whole system was just straight man. So I had a good man background because I would come from corner to free, swapping out. We had some good guys at that school, like amazing talent that ended up playing at Union as well. Transferring over to Virginia State, where it was more cover two, cover three, that was probably the most variety I've had as a defensive back playing for defense at Virginia State. They had a lot of variety, switching up their coverages based on formations, of course. So I would say a lot more studying. I had to go into that. When at Union, at Wise, all I had to do was like, oh, I'm looking at my man and I'm locked in. And Union was probably strictly cover four. And so, that's like a quarters concept where where your eyes on two and they snap to one. That was basically the whole basis of that defense. So I've had it all. I feel like straight man to man, strictly a defense where I had to constantly be in my playbook and watching the formations and a strictly quarters defense. So they all were unique in that way.
All right. Well, interesting. You talked a little bit about playing all over in that secondary. Where are you most experienced? I mean, are you free safety, wide corner, slot corner? I mean, talk about your experience level.
I would say where am I most experienced? It's crazy, Jimmy, because I've really played all of them throughout the entire season. It's never been a time where I've stuck at one position just off injuries or me being like, coach, hey, coach, I got it. Like, I'll learn it. I'll take care of it. Hey, what you so and so down? I'll step in, move him to safety. I'll step in. So I will feel like, honestly, everywhere I feel like I'm nickel, free, corner, every single one of those positions. I feel like I'm just as first, even strong safety. Jimmy, I played on, right up with the lineman. Right up with the linemen. I've been everywhere, so I think I'm really well versed at every single position.
John, I gotta ask, since you said you're willing to line up, maybe near the line, but what's your height and weight these days?
So I weigh around 177 and I'm 5'11", 5'11", like 6 feet.
So I don't know if that really is a strong safety, but that isn't necessarily, going to restrict you from those sorts of things. I mean, maybe perhaps a nickel,
Oh yeah.
and that's, with that, I mean, not to put you down or anything, but obviously the size is what it is, and we have to kind of, run with it. I mean,
Yes, sir.
you talked a lot about your versatility, playing corner, safety, nickel, and such. Do you feel like that versatility is something that is like your best attribute that you bring to the table, or how would you answer that? I mean, what do you feel is one of your better attributes as a prospect?
I would say my three best attributes. Yeah, of course, versatility. I can play all over the field. I know the positions very well. Where to line up. It's all about the hashes. I feel like mentally, I'm always the smartest on the field from just film study. Like I'll tell a coach first, hey, all it takes is one thing for me to see. It could be a hand move, it could be a way you touch your towel, it could be something I put into my back pocket. Like, well, if I see this again, I know he's doing this. From constant film study, I feel like I'm a real on-field coach when I'm out there. And lastly, I feel like I'm coachable. I mean, I know this is a business. I've been in every single situation. I feel like I've been through every possible emotion in the game. You can't play this game with emotions. And I feel like I'm more than willing to be able to take any type of coaching or any type of strategy, any type of adjustments, and get my best hand towards it.
All right, nice. I mean, of course, you have to have a level head when you play this game. You can't let your emotions get to you too much. You kind of have to, walk a little bit of that line as to like, how you let it affect you and what you do out there on the field. Um, let's talk a little bit about actually some of the guys that you've actually played with, if you don't mind. I mean, again, you're at a few different institutions, each of which has some good talent in their own right. So, but who would you say has been probably I don't know, maybe your most impressive teammate over the years?
Gosh, it's crazy because I've had so many. I would say coming in from UVA wise, definitely Marquise Hamilton, uh, guy at DC Southeast, Demetrius Mann, Tampa, Florida guy, amazing DBs. Um, Growing up, I had a lot of guys that kind of molded me into who I am today, like Ed Carbo. And it's so many guys that come in, like just playing well. Like you just come across guys like, wow, he's an athlete. You know what I'm saying? Even towards Union, Tobias Parker and Jaden Reeves, Brian Epps. It's so many guys. The list can go on and on. Honestly, I can tell you that these guys, that starting and really didn't get the opportunity they said they would, or they said that they could get, and that just straight dogs, ballers. These guys coming up, I think that are real deal ballers. Look out for a couple guys, especially Union this year. Union's gonna be a good team. I know you heard of Jada Byers.
Right, right.
Great kid, yeah. He's running back, D2, number one D2 running back. Played Virginia, kid's a dog. But like the thing is, like Jada gets the attributes, but it's a lot of dogs on that team that definitely can ball.
Awesome. You're talking about how some of those guys that you played alongside really helped your own personal development, but let's also talk about some of those coaches that have really helped you in your development. When you look back at those guys that poured into you over the years, give me maybe one of the best lessons you learned from one of them guys.
I would say I had a really good coach at really honestly two really good coaches at UVA Wise, Shad Boyd and Coach Eric Rosser. They were extremely, extremely big on building connections and relationships, just not in football but outside of football. Uh, I I think Coach Boyd, he's at I don't know if he is Western Kentucky now, but he has his own. He has his own school they built for him. He's coaching it. I think it's the D2 school, but he was real big on tendencies, and I think that kind of stuck with me throughout. And that's kind of how I carry each and every my film studies, like breaking film down legitly by each single position. What the O lineman doing in this position? What is the quarterback? And marking it down in your book and say, okay, every time he does this, I mark it down. What play? Really intentional, really meticulous on what you're looking at on the film. And so I feel like that really carried with me throughout my entire college career. And I would say Nigel Rios at Virginia Union, uh, he's transformed me as an athlete in explosiveness and athleticism. Just the right way to train your body. Just not, oh, let me throw 500 pounds on my back and just lift it up. But you know, being optimal when you're in the weight room and not being in there for 3 hours and then you're not getting really any performance. So I say Nigel Rios at Virginia definitely as well helped me out a lot.
Nice. Got to give a shout out to all these guys, man. I mean, that have really helped mold you into who you are. You mentioned briefly about the weight room, so I got to ask. I mean, talk to me a little bit about your development there, and maybe even your favorite lift.
Okay, I would say so throughout the years, I would say my junior year was the year I really developed in the weight room. I was like, okay, we gonna lift some weights. We're not gonna keep being small for us. Like, we're gonna get in this weight room, man. Like I said, working out with Nigel Reels, like really pushed me to my limits. A lot of things. I feel like I never had. Have you ever done resistance training, Jimmy? It's different. Like
I know
basically
what you're
doing,
talking about.
yeah, everything with bands,
Yeah.
everything with your squats, you got bands pulling you down. And so I feel like that transformed me into an athlete to a point where I'm like, when the bands came off, I'm like, oh, this is easy, you know. But yeah, throughout, like I think just doing that in itself had transformed me. And what was the other question as well?
Favorite lift?
Oh, paper lift. I would say the bench. Bench, yeah. Bench, yeah, definitely the bench. Because I mean, even though it like sometimes it sucks when that weight fall in your throat. No, I'm just playing, but like uh the overall bench in itself, nah, I get at that. People think because oh he's small, he's not gonna be able to do it. Like people didn't think I was gonna be able to do 225, and I hit it like 14 times, 15 times. And so I feel like just the bench because I can surprise people. That's it.
That's solid, man. I mean, you said you able to, put up that 225 several times, which is nice. I mean, and again, I mean, you show people that, hey man, I might be this big, but I mean, look at what I could do. So
Mhm.
great. Obviously able to do a lot of things on the football field as well. Give me maybe one of your best moments. I mean, if there was maybe a play or a game that sticks out for you, go ahead and share that.
I would say it was a game where we played Shepherd. It was I think it was my freshman year at UVA-wise, and Shepherd was undefeated at the time. You know, have you heard of Shepherd, the D2 national champions? And we're UVA-wise, what, three and three and whatever, playing our hearts out. You know, I would say that whole game, if I could go back and just run the tape, that whole game was just it was a beautiful moment, you know, just seeing not just me, but my whole team come together. I made countless stops. Us as a team made countless stops. That whole game would be just like if I can look back and be like, oh, everything's said and done with football, that would be a game I go to. Just want to rewatch from the stands and just see myself play. So yeah, that was a great game.
Great, great. Let's take a moment and meet this John Coley guy outside of football a little bit. So, tell us something about you that you might find that others might find interesting, whether it be hobbies or anything that you're passionate about, man. Give me something about you.
Um, so one thing that people may or may not know is my family is actually have amassed over 1.8 million followers on TikTok. We actually have a whole, yeah, actual management team that runs it. We get paid for making TikToks, doing ads with Walmart, Target, you know, all the major brands. I think that's something that people may find interesting. You can look us up at KEECOLEY, Coley. Another thing is like my family's real big into the entertainment industry. We have our own youth group with church that we're building up. So I think people may find that interesting. Hobbies other than football, you know, of course, playing a game like everybody else do from time to time. You know, like
Right, right.
traveling, you know, spending time with my family. But I would say those like the two big things that people may find interesting.
So you a music guy? I mean, are you a you said that are active with that sort of thing. Like I don't know, do you sing or what?
Yeah, I mean, sing for church every night. I used to sing a lot back at church, but I would say less music, more acting. Like,
No,
yeah,
I
definitely.
get you. Just for fun, man. If it was karaoke night and someone asked you get up there and sing something, what's that one song that you think that you would hit out of the park?
Jim. Probably it
I
had to
gotta
be a
ask the
gospel.
tough questions, man.
Yeah, it would it would definitely probably be a gospel song. Never would have made it without you. You know, some gospel probably. I don't got
No,
a voice right now. I can't sing it right now.
no, it's all good, man. I ain't asking for you to sing it, but
Yeah.
I do appreciate hearing a little bit of that from you. So, um, give me some insight as to what's happening in your life right now. I mean, obviously you're training, you're working towards an opportunity to be in the pros. Tell me where you're at and what you're doing.
I pray you can't hear this music back here, but I'm actually in Miami training. My one of my close friends lives in Florida. He has a trainer. Um, and I'm getting it in with him right now, you know, working on my 40 time. That's what it's really all about. Speed. That's what the league wants. That's what these next professionals want to see. So trying to get that time loaded at 4.4, 4.3, you know, run a great time, you know, have a get my pro day set up with certain colleges, and just try to make something shake from there, Jimmy. That's all you need. Just an opportunity. Just to be in front of the right people.
Right, man. And we only need one guy to really fall in love with you and give you that opportunity. So, as we close up, I want to give you an opportunity maybe to try and do that and just kind of talk to these scouts and tell them why they need to take a chance on you and give you that opportunity. So, close us out with your pitch.
I would say for all the scouts out there, you will be getting the guy that's not scared to put everything on the line, not scared to do the last rep till he pass out, not scared to go out there and put on for his team, put on for his coaches, put on for his family. You'll get a guy that's committed, willing, able to be coachable on and off the field. You don't have to worry about being on the news, doing anything crazy, doing any craziness. You will be getting a God-fearing man who is dedicated to his team, his family, his friends. You'll be getting on-field coach as well. I look at guys like Ray Lewis and Luke Kuechly, guys with that middle linebacker. Ray Lewis had a crazy quote that kind of stuck out with me, and he was just talking about how being the smartest person on the field is the biggest advantage you can have, and I feel like you'll be getting that.
Great. Well, John, do appreciate this interview with you. I mean, it's been fun getting to know you, and wish you very best of luck in your journey henceforth. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Jimmy. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Once again, John Coley, he's a defensive back out of Virginia Union. Check this guy out.